People in small towns rarely forget tragedies, but sometimes what they remember isn't the official story. Sometimes what stays in their minds is the feeling, the uneasiness, the quiet question that nobody ever answered. Years ago, in a quiet Midwestern town where people left porch lights on all night and neighbors waved from pickup trucks passing down gravel roads, there was a case everyone thought they understood. A man named Mark Ellison told the police a terrible story. He said he came home late from work and found his wife in a panic. According to him, she had hurt their two young children during some kind of breakdown. He claimed he tried to stop her, that he fought with her, that things spiraled out of control. By the time emergency services arrived, 3 people were gone: his wife and the 2 children, and Mark, the only one left alive, stood outside under the flashing red and blue lights, repeating the same sentence over and over. "She did it. I tried to stop her. She lost control." At first, people believed him because Mark looked broken. He cried in interview. He shook when officers asked questions. And he spoke about his wife as if she had simply lost her mind one terrible night. The town tried to move on, but tragedy has a strange way of lingering, like fog that refuses to lift from the fields. The first person who truly doubted Mark's story was an old man. His name was Walter Haines. Walter had lived in that town for 70 years, long enough to watch generations grow up and leave. His small farmhouse sat near the county road where people drove past every morning on their way to work. He had known Mark's wife since she was a teenager, and something about the story didn't sit right with him. But the police investigation slowed quickly. Evidence was confusing. Timelines didn't quite match, but nothing clearly pointed against Mark. Weeks passed. Then something happened. Walter began waking up every night at exactly 2:17 a.m. The first time, he thought it was coincidence. The second time, he blamed his aging bladder. But the third night, something else woke him. A sound, not loud, not clear. Just the faint creaking of the old rocking chair near his bedroom window. Walter sat up slowly in bed. The house was quiet, but the rocking chair moved again. Back and forth, back and forth. Walter whispered into the darkness, "Hello?" The chair stopped. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the air in the room grew colder. Not the kind of cold that slips through cracks in old houses, but a heavy cold, the kind that presses down on your lungs when something unseen enters the room. Walter would later say that he didn't see her clearly at first, just a shape, a shadow, standing near the window. He felt something strange then, not fear exactly, but the overwhelming sadness of someone else filling the room. Then the whisper came, soft, broken. "Walter." His breath caught in his throat, because he recognized the voice. It was Mark's wife, the woman everyone believed had caused the tragedy. Walter's hands trembled. This isn't real," he whispered, but the voice came again, slower this time. He lied. The rocking chair creaked again. Walter felt the air shift beside him, as if someone invisible had taken a seat. And then something colder brushed against his hand. The whisper returned. He hurt them, all of us. Walter didn't sleep the rest of that night, but the strange visits continued, night after night, always the same time, always the same quiet presence in the room. Sometimes Walter heard faint footsteps. Sometimes the rocking chair moved on its own. But most nights he simply heard her voice. Piece by piece she told him things, fragments, memories, details Mark had never mentioned, arguments, threats, a night filled with shouting, and one terrible moment when anger turned into something irreversible. Walter listened. At first he wondered if he was losing his mind, but the details she gave him were too specific, too clear, things no one else could have known. License plate numbers, a hidden toolbox, a place near the river trail where something had been buried. Finally, after nearly 2 weeks of sleepless nights, Walter went to the police. The officer at the front desk looked skeptical when the old man began explaining. He didn't say a ghost had told him. He simply said he had information. Small things, clues, locations. The detectives listened politely, but most of them assumed it was just an old man chasing rumors. Still, they checked one of the places Walter mentioned, just in case. And that's when the case reopened, because buried beneath loose soil near the river trail, investigators found something Mark had hidden, something that told a very different story about that night. Evidence that didn't match his version of events. Evidence that suggested someone had carefully staged the entire tragedy. When police questioned Mark again, his confidence was gone. The calm story he had repeated for months started to crumble. Timelines broke apart. Details changed. And eventually, under the weight of the evidence, Mark stopped talking altogether. The trial lasted less than a week. But the thing that people in town still talk about isn't the trial. It's what happened after. Walter stopped waking up at 2:17. The rocking chair never moved again. And the cold presence that once filled his room simply vanished. But before the visits ended, there was one final night. Walter woke up, same time as always. The room was quiet. The rocking chair moved once, gently, and the voice spoke one last time, not broken, not frightened, just calm. "Thank you." Walter sat in silence for a long moment. Then he whispered into the darkness, "I hope you found peace." The chair rocked once more, very slowly, very softly, and then it stopped forever. But if you ever drive through that town late at night, past the old farmhouse near the county road, some people swear they've seen Walter sitting by the window in the dark, watching the road as if he's still listening, just in case someone else needs to be heard.